We're in the middle of Holy Week, which is one of my favorite weeks in the church calendar. One of the most common questions I get as a children's ministry director from the kids I work with is, why do we call Good Friday good? And it's a fair question. I'm sure it's a question many of us have wondered. On a day that seems dark and sad, why do we call it good? I remember many years ago when my son was about 5 years old, attending a Good Friday service with my family. We were in the service in one of the quietest parts when we were hearing the reading when Jesus took his last breath on the cross. My son exclaimed in a really loud voice, "Jesus died again? I thought he died last year." I heard giggles all around me, and I was so embarrassed. And it was at that moment that I realized first that I hadn't prepared him for exactly what was going to happen at that service. And he wasn't prepared for the emotions that was going to bring up. And that he just really thought, since we had gone through all of that last year and gotten to the joy and happiness of Easter, that we just weren't going to have to do that again. And it makes sense, right? I mean, a lot of us would just like to skip over all that yucky stuff, the parts that make us feel a little bit uncomfortable. And we're not the only ones. I was driving by a church recently that was advertising all of the Easter weekend services. And for them, Easter starts on Thursday. No Maundy, Thursday, no Good Friday, just right into Easter. And it makes me wonder, can you appreciate the joy of Easter without going through the rest of the story? So it goes back to the first question. Why do we call Good Friday good? When we know what happens on Good Friday, when we know all the details of the story, why on earth would we say that it's good? Well, first of all, we know that what happens on Good Friday is not the end of the story. We have the advantage of knowing what happens next, and we know that it's not the end. And we know that what happens on Good Friday is when Jesus enters into all of our suffering, all of our pain, and shows us that there is no place that God will not go to be with us and to show us how much God loves us. There is something immensely powerful in that message. And that is a message that we need to hear over and over and over again, not just once. And that's why, even though my son thought that he should only hear it the one time and then skip to the good part, which is what we all would like to do, it is important for us to hear the story over and over and over again of how God enters in and shows God's love for us in a very tangible way. Blessed Easter week to all of you, and hope to see you at services.